from Functional Flex, Team FFLEX, here in the office. I got a cool video for you guys today. We're going to talk about your squat depths, what you need to be doing, how people need to gauge their squat depth, all kinds of different stuff. We're going to go over the actual anatomy, and I'm going to tell you why your bro science guru trainer is telling you your toes got to be this way, knees got to be this way, got to achieve this depth, is a fucking idiot, to sum it up short. So this came up, I thought this would be a good idea to do, because just yesterday, I had a conversation with one of my team athletes. She had posted a video in her story, and she was asking me, hey Rye, why when I squat does my butt seem to tuck under my background at the bottom position of my squat? And I was telling her, oh, this is butt wink, and this is classic kind of squat mechanic if you're squatting too deep for your anatomy structure. So I ended up getting on the phone with her and talking her all through it and telling her where she needs to squat and do all this stuff. But a lot of people don't know this stuff, so I thought it would be great to do a video for you guys to tell you what's up and why you should not just blindly follow the advice of your trainer, your coach. Don't even blindly follow my advice, by the way. Do your research on the shit I'm telling you about, and I'm also going to show you some stuff here with some actual human structure that you're going to be able to see as to what I'm talking about. So the thing when it comes to squat depth, you guys, the age-old kind of myth and question and whatever that everybody wants to preach is that it's got to be ass to grass, right? So the only way you can squat is to go all the way down, otherwise basically you're a little bitch, you're not even doing a real squat, you shouldn't count it as a squat, and you're not training the right way. So basically they tell you to get there at all costs, and you see people doing all kinds of wonky, weird shit to get down there when it does not actually work that way. Squat depth, you guys, is determined not only by your mobility and all the foam rolling and the stretching you do, like everybody always says, oh, I need better mobility to squat deeper. There's also anatomical structure, your fucking skeletal bone structure, that's going to dictate how far you can get. And if we know what we know, which is that we're not identical to anyone on the planet, even if you have an identical twin, you're not 100% identical. There is going to be a difference in the way that you're designed, from how your hair is, to your eye color, to your bone structure, to your joint, your muscle composition. All of this stuff is going to be entirely different. So trainers and coaches and all these kind of bro scientists that never do real research want to tell you that there's one way. Your toes got to be straight ahead. Your knees got to track over your second toe. You got to achieve this level of hip flexion, this level of depth. Your back should be here. All this blah, blah, fucking blah bullshit. I know the stuff. I've read it. I've done so many certifications. I know about it, but I also know the real shit. And the real shit is that nobody is identical, and the way you need to do any lift, especially something big like the squat, is entirely different. If you think about this right now, I'm sure you can think of one of your friends or family member or somebody, maybe you saw something on fucking National Geographic, this is a good example, that people that can like sit in a low squat position and hang out. Like they can squat down, hang out, you could literally serve them dinner like that and they could eat and be fine. All types of people from other countries that are, you know, not as industrialized as us and all this stuff will be able to do that. They can literally sit down there and that's how they'll eat, that's how they'll hang out around the campfire or whatever. You see it all the time. But a lot of us have these people in our lives too that can do this. Or maybe your friend can squat way deeper with you than you can with a barbell or a dumbbell or a kettlebell or whatever. Why does that happen? Is because you have piss poor mobility, or you just need to work on this, that, and everything else, or are you actually designed differently? It's going to be the latter. And I'm going to tell you guys how and why. So we're looking at this diagram right here, which is your actual hip. Hopefully you guys will be able to see this. I'm going to pull up some real skeletal stuff in a minute here. But basically I want to show you guys some stuff you got to know. Some stuff that's got to make some sense that you're going to see right here. So we're looking at, where's the colors? So we're looking at the actual femur here, you guys. This is your femur, okay? This bone, this bone. That is your actual thigh bone, okay? So the top of your thigh. You guys know what I'm talking about. I'm going to keep this very basic. We're not going to go too in depth. We got the acetabulum, okay? This is your actual ball and socket of your hip. If you didn't know this about your hip is a ball and socket joint. So let's pretend this hand is your pelvis, this hand is your hip, okay? So this is your femur, this is your hip, boom. Ball and socket joint can move in all directions. This is why we can lift our legs sideways, we can bring it forward and backward, we can do all kinds of different stuff because it's a ball and socket and it has free range to move in. Okay, so it can move in multi-directions. Now, depending on the depth of the actual femoral head neck here, and the acetabulum, and the actual depth of your hip capsule, that's going to lead to different types of squats. Let's look at the actual real diagram. Okay, so I'm going to pull up a hip socket here, you guys, and you're going to be able to see two totally different hip sockets. These are actual human skeletons, okay? And here's what we're looking at, if you don't know. This is your pelvis. This is, what the fuck, my color's gone. My color, man. Okay, this is your pelvis here, okay? Boom, pelvis. So we're looking at a side profile. Here is your actual hip capsule. This is what we were just looking at on the diagram, this part of your hip bone where your femur's gonna connect in. This hip capsule here is super shallow. What shallow means is it's not as deep. The bone is going to sit here. There's a lot more range. Okay? What type of squat do you think that is? Look at this right here. We're going to see a very deep and actually differently curved hip capsule here. So this is deep and it's also curved at a totally different angle than this. So if we're looking at these two things here, there is fucking zero doubt these are two entirely different squat stances. From where the toes need to be, to how wide you need to stand, to how deep you can go down, to all your mechanics are going to be totally changed by just these two things. You guys starting to get what I'm saying? So the more shallow the hip socket is, the deeper someone's going to be able to squat without creating a poor movement pattern. And that's because of this. If we have a shallow hip socket here, here's your femoral head, we can move this in a lot more range of motion. Your hip goes into flexion when you squat, and then it comes into extension as you stand. So we're going to be able to get a lot more flexion of the hip without compromising the back or doing anything else, versus someone with a deeper socket. If someone's got a deeper socket, then that femoral head is basically jammed right up inside of the hip. That means there's only so much range we can go before we actually hit bone on bone. And a lot of times we're going to see these people needing to squat at parallel or just above. Does it mean that their squat is worse? Does it mean they're getting less muscle gains? Does it mean they're getting less strength gains? Abso-fucking-lutely not. They are designed entirely differently, and so is the way you need to train. Let's look at some more variances, you guys, to really hammer this point home. If we take a look right here, we're going to see two actual pelvic structures. And obviously, if you guys have any eyes at all right here watching this, you can tell there's some dramatic differences here. Okay, here is the actual, again, fucking colors, man. Here is the actual area where the femur is going to go. This is your actual hip socket on this pelvis here. Look at this one. You can't even fucking see it in the picture because it's at a totally different angle. And then if you guys look at the other structures, this is much more narrow here. This is much wider. This is actually a lot more curved. We're looking at less tailbone, all this. Everything is different about these hips. What is the question that they're going to need to squat differently? There is fucking zero question. Let's look at these actual acetabulums, femoral heads right here. Okay, so if we look here, look at the neck on this one. The actual neck on this is short. Okay, this is a much shorter neck right here than this. This is actually a lot longer. So longer is going to translate differently. And also, let's not forget, look at the angle of difference here. This is going this way, this is coming almost straight across. This is going to lead to an entirely different squat. One of these people will be able to squat narrow stance and very deep, and one of them is going to have to go wider and a lot more shallow. Now, is there anything wrong with that? No. Let's look at further differences. Here you go, guys. Here's a bunch of different actual femurs, okay, from a bunch of different people. And what we're going to see here, very easy to see right away. Look at the tops. Look at all these different femoral heads. Totally different, okay? So we got some that are fatter here. We got some with more hook at the actual acetabulum. We got some with a different kind of length here. Some coming at a different angle. This one is totally differently round. All these things dictate how someone squats. And all kinds of trainers and coaches and gurus don't want to go do this actual research to learn this and to know what to look for and how to improve your movement pattern. They'd rather chalk it up to you need to do more stretching, you need to do more foam rolling, you need to do blah blah fucking blah. What if no matter how much of that stuff you do, you're never going to change that? You can change your mobility, you can change the flexibility, all this shit, but you will never be able to change your fucking bone structure. So what would be a lot better for you guys to do out there, those of you struggling with this, is to actually figure out where you need to be and to train there, because you're gonna get the best possible results. So what I want you guys to do, I'm gonna have a video coming up here with 3 drills that you can do in like 5 to 10 minutes to figure out your exact squat, from your stance to how deep to all of the mechanics you need to know for your specific body. It's gonna be 3 little tests you can do literally anywhere. It's gonna take you just a few minutes, and it's going to change your entire game. So you need to turn on your post notifications, subscribe to my channel right here so that you guys can get that when that drops. It's coming out very soon. It's going to be super important. It's going to change the game. Because let's not forget, if we have a compromised movement pattern anywhere in the body, it's eventually going to lead to pain. You could get seriously injured and be out of the gym for a length of time, or even potentially in pain for life. That is not a joke. That is a serious thing. If you're training the wrong way for a long time with load, shit's going to change and it's not going to come back. Let's also not forget, your gains are going to be a lot worse. The results you get, how strong you can get, the amount of muscle you can build. If you're a competitor, somebody like that, chasing aesthetics, you're going to build the wrong areas and not build certain ones. You're going to end up overdeveloped and underdeveloped, and you're going to have more problems there. You're not going to get the results you want. Let's think of it this way, you guys. If you have the butt wink, if you have the rounding back as you go into squat, it's simply because you're going too deep. Your bone structure is not allowing you to go any more depth, and you're training beyond it anyway. People forget that your body's a survival mechanism. Your brain says, okay, Ryan wants to go squat, let's figure this shit out. He wants to go HEG, let's figure this shit out. Is he actually designed for it? Doesn't fucking matter. Let's figure this shit out. And that's what your body's going to do. At all costs, it will compensate to make you complete the movement, to do what you want to do, regardless of if it is the most beneficial or ideal movement pattern for you. And your body's doing the same thing. 90% of you that have the butt wink, have the rounding back, have the problem with your squat, don't even know it. You don't even know what's happening. So another thing I want you to do, take a video of your next squat session from the side profile, and watch. You'll see as you go if your spine stays neutral, if it's tucking under, if your back's rounding, what is going on. You're going to see all kinds of different movement mechanics there. And you can clean some of those up once you become aware of them. The 3 drills I'm going to give you guys in the next videos is going to change the game for you. You're going to get better results. You're going to be able to prevent injury, and you're going to actually be able to train the right mechanics that's going to correlate and translate over to all your other lifts, all your other exercises, and give you the best possible results. So make sure you turn on your subscriptions right here, subscribe to my channel, turn on your post notifications, and watch and wait for the next video where we're going to go in depth into these 3 drills that's going to totally change the game for you guys. Coach Rye is out.